The bridge erupted in a cacophony of alarms as the vast alien armada materialized around them. Captain Naresh gripped the arms of his chair, his knuckles turning white. All stop. Raise shields to maximum power. Ensign Kuran's fingers flew across her console. Shields at full strength, sir. We've got enemy ships surrounding us on all sides. Cruisers, destroyers, fighters. They're powering weapons. Naresh's jaw tightened. Hail them. Let's see if we can reason with these invaders. The viewscreen crackled to life, revealing a towering alien commander. Its serpentine eyes narrowed as it spoke in a grating, inhuman tongue. Kuran's brow furrowed. It's demanding our unconditional surrender. If we refuse, they'll open fire. Naresh's gaze hardened. Tell them this is the Earth Orbital Defense Fleet. We don't surrender to alien tyrants. He turned to his weapons officer. Lock all main batteries on their lead ship. Send a signal to the rest of the fleet. Prepare for combat. The alien commander's expression contorted into what seemed like a sneer. Then you will be destroyed, insignificant humans. Our invasion force will crush your meager resistance and take your world as our own. The transmission cut off abruptly. Kuran's voice was tense. They're charging weapons, sir. Impact in 30 seconds. Naresh braced himself, his mind racing. All hands, brace for impact. Helm, evasive maneuvers. The bridge shuddered as the first salvo of alien plasma bolts slammed into their shields. Kuran's console sparked, and she cried out in pain as the feedback surge jolted her. Naresh gritted his teeth, his eyes scanning the tactical display. Return fire. Target their engines and weapon systems. The human battleship's main guns thundered, lashing out with streams of superheated particle beams. Several alien ships shuddered and broke apart under the withering barrage, but the sheer numbers of the enemy overwhelmed their defenses. Kuran's voice was strained. Shields down to 30% and failing. Hull integrity compromised on decks 3 and 4. Naresh's gaze narrowed. Activate the forbidden upgrade. Kuran stared at him, her eyes wide. But sir, the risks. Do it. Ensign. We have no choice. It's our only chance to survive. Kuran swallowed hard and turned back to her console, her fingers flying over the controls. The bridge lights dimmed as power surged through the ship's systems, building towards a devastating climax. The alien vessels surged forward, their weapons blazing. Naresh braced himself as the barrage slammed into the human ship's weakened shields. Shields down to 15%. Kuran shouted. We can't take much more of this. Naresh's jaw tightened. Activate the upgrade, Ensign. Now. Kuran's hands flew across her console, her face a mask of concentration. Slowly, the ship's systems began to hum with power, building towards a crescendo. Suddenly, the air crackled with energy as the upgrade engaged. The human vessel's engines flared to life, propelling it forward with incredible speed. Naresh gripped the arms of his chair as the inertial dampeners struggled to compensate. Weapons systems online. Kuran called out. Charging main cannons. Naresh's eyes narrowed as he stared at the alien armada bearing down on them. Target their command ships. Fire everything we've got. The human battleship's main guns unleashed a devastating barrage, lancing out with searing beams of plasma and particle accelerators. Alien vessels shuddered and exploded as the withering assault tore through their hulls. Direct hits on their lead ships. Kuran reported, her voice tinged with a mix of awe and fear. They're breaking formation, scrambling to regroup. Naresh allowed himself a grim smile. Helm, take us right into the heart of their fleet. Time to show these invaders the true strength of humanity. The human vessel surged forward, its upgraded engines propelling it with terrifying speed. Alien ships scrambled to get out of its path, but were overwhelmed by the sheer power of the human onslaught. Kuran's hands flew across her console. shields at 50% and holding. We're punching through their lines. Naresh's expression hardened. Target their supply ships and logistics hubs. Cut off their support and leave them stranded. The hewn battleship unleashed a barrage of precision strikes, targeting the alien fleet's vulnerable support vessels and command centers. Explosions ripped through the enemy formation, throwing their formation into chaos. Their ships are retreating, Kieran exclaimed. They're jumping to FTL, trying to escape. Naresh's eyes narrowed as he watched the battered alien vessels disappear into the void. Not so fast, you cowards. Helm, pursue them. We'll chase them back to their homeworld if we have to. The hewn vessel surged forward, its upgraded engines propelling it with incredible speed as it gave chase to the retreating alien fleet. The hewn battleship rocketed through the void, its upgraded engines pushing it to unprecedented speeds as it pursued the retreating alien fleet. Naresh's knuckles were white as he gripped the arms of his chair, his eyes fixed on the tactical display. We're closing in on the enemy, sir, Kieran reported, her fingers flying across her console. Their ships are jumping to FTL, but we're gaining on them. Naresh's jaw tightened. Maintain pursuit. We can't let them escape, not after what they've done. The alien vessels were desperately trying to outrun the human ship, their engines glowing with the strain. But the power of the forbidden upgrade gave the human vessel a decisive advantage, allowing it to catch up to the fleeing invaders. We're within weapons range, sir, Kieran said, her voice tense. Shall I open fire? Naresh's eyes narrowed. Do it. Let them know that humanity will not be intimidated or cowed by their aggression. The hewn battleship's guns roared to life, unleashing a barrage of devastating energy beams and missiles. Several of the alien ships shuddered and broke apart under the relentless assault, their hulls unable to withstand the punishment. Kieran's eyes widened as she watched the carnage unfold. The enemy fleet is in disarray, sir. Their formation is falling apart. Naresh nodded, his expression grim. Keep up the pressure. We can't let them regroup and rally. The hewn vessel continued its pursuit, its weapons blazing as it systematically destroyed the retreating alien ships. The once mighty invading force was now in full retreat, its ships limping away from the unstoppable human onslaught. Suddenly, Kieran's console began to flash with warnings. Sir, the enemy fleet is jumping to FTL. They're escaping. Naresh's eyes narrowed as he watched the alien vessels disappear into the void. Damn it. They're getting away. Kieran's voice was tinged with a mix of relief and regret. We've crippled their fleet, sir. They won't be able to mount another attack anytime soon. Naresh nodded, his expression thoughtful. That may be true, but I can't shake the feeling that this is only the beginning. These invaders will be back, and they'll be seeking revenge. He turned to Kieran, his gaze resolute. Prep the ship for repairs and resupply. We need to be ready for the next time they come calling. The human battleship drifted in the void, its damaged hull a testament to the ferocity of the battle. But Naresh knew that this was just the first skirmish in a much larger war, one that would test the limits of humanity's strength and resolve. The hewn battleship drifted in the void, its damaged hull a testament to the ferocity of the battle. Naresh stood on the bridge, his brow furrowed as he surveyed the aftermath. Damage report, ensign, he said, his voice weary but resolute. Kieran's fingers flew across her console as she compiled the data. Hull integrity is at 75%, sir. We've lost several decks, and the main engines are running at reduced capacity. It'll take time to make the necessary repairs. Naresh nodded, his jaw tightening. And the rest of the fleet? They fared better than us, but they're not unscathed, Kieran replied. Several ships sustained moderate damage, and a few took heavy hits. We're the worst off, but the others are in no condition to continue the pursuit. Naresh's gaze drifted to the view screen, where the retreating alien vessels had disappeared. Then we have no choice but to regroup and rearm. Those invaders will be back, and we need to be ready for them. Karen's expression was grave. Sir, I've never seen anything like that before. The way we were able to push back their fleet to turn the tide of the battle. It was incredible, but also terrifying. What exactly was that upgrade we used? Naresh's eyes darkened. A weapon of last resort, Ensign. One that we swore never to use again, after the devastation it wrought in the past. Karen's brow furrowed. But why keep it then? Why not just destroy it? Because we knew, deep down, that one day we might need it again, Naresh replied, his voice heavy with the weight of his words. The fate of our entire species hangs in the balance. We couldn't afford to discard such a powerful tool, no matter the risks. Karen's gaze dropped to the floor, her mind racing with the implications. And now that we've used it, what happens next? Naresh sighed, his expression somber. That, Ensign, is the question we must all face. The consequences of our actions today will reverberate through the galaxy, and I fear that the price we may have to pay will be higher than any of us can imagine. He turned to Kiran, his eyes reflecting the gravity of the situation. Prepare the crew for the next phase of this conflict. We must make ready, for the alien invaders will surely return, and this time, they will be seeking vengeance. The human battleship drifted in the void, its damaged hull a testament to the ferocity of the battle. But Naresh knew that the true test was yet to come, and that humanity's very survival hung in the balance. The human fleet limped back to Earth, their ships battered and scarred from the fierce battle with the alien invaders. Naresh stood on the bridge of his flagship, his expression grim as he surveyed the damage. Status report, Ensign, he said, his voice weary but resolute. Kiren's fingers flew across her console, her brow furrowed in concentration. The fleet's overall combat readiness is at 58%, sir. We've suffered significant losses, both in terms of personnel and material. It'll take weeks, if not months, to fully repair and refit the ships. Naresh nodded, his jaw tightening. And the alien invaders? Have we received any intel on their movements? Karen's expression darkened. Nothing definitive, sir. Our long-range sensors detected the remnants of their fleet jumping to FTL, but we have no way of knowing where they're headed or when they might return. Naresh's eyes narrowed. They'll be back, that much is certain, and they'll be seeking revenge for the humiliation we've dealt them. He turned to face the crew, his gaze sweeping across the faces of his battle-hardened officers. Gentlemen, we've been given a reprieve, but it won't last. The alien invaders will regroup, and when they do, they'll come at us with everything they've got. Naresh's expression hardened. That's why we need to use this time wisely. We must fortify our defenses, strengthen our ships, and prepare our forces for the inevitable confrontation to come. He paused, his eyes meeting those of his crew. And when they do return, we'll be ready. We'll show them the true might of humanity, and we'll make them regret the day they set their sights on our homeworld. Karen's voice was hesitant. Sir, about the forbidden upgrade. What are the long-term consequences of using it? Naresh's expression darkened. I won't lie to you, Ensign. The upgrade is a double-edged sword, one that carries a heavy price. Using it has put us on a path that may lead to consequences we can't even begin to fathom. He paused, his gaze distant. But we had no choice. It was the only way to save our fleet, to protect our world from those alien invaders. And if we have to use it again, we will, no matter the cost. Kiren's eyes widened, but she said nothing, sensing the gravity of Naresh's words. The human fleet continued its journey back to Earth, its battered ships a testament to the ferocity of the battle. But as they drew closer to their home, Naresh knew that the true fight was yet to come. The human fleet returned to Earth, its ships bearing the scars of the fierce battle with the alien invaders. Naresh stood on the bridge of his flagship, his expression grim as he surveyed the damage. Begin immediate repairs and resupply, he ordered, his voice firm. We need to get these ships back into fighting shape as quickly as possible. Kieran nodded, her fingers flying across her console. Aye, sir. I've already dispatched repair crews to the most critical areas. We'll have the fleet combat ready within the week. Naresh's brow furrowed. That's not soon enough. We need to be prepared for the aliens' inevitable counterattack. He turned to the rest of the bridge crew, his gaze resolute. Gentlemen, I won't mince words. The use of the forbidden upgrade has put us on a path that we may not be able to turn back from. The consequences of our actions will reverberate through the galaxy, and the alien invaders will be seeking vengeance. Kieran's eyes widened. Sir, you can't mean. Naresh held up a hand, silencing her. I do, Ensign. We need to accelerate our preparations and put every resource we have into fortifying our defenses. The fate of our entire species hangs in the balance. He paused, his expression darkening. And if the alien invaders return before we're ready, we may have no choice but to use the upgrade again. The bridge crew exchanged uneasy glances, the gravity of Naresh's words weighing heavily on them. Suddenly, the communications console came to life, and a familiar face appeared on the view screen. Captain Naresh, this is Admiral Saran. I've received your report, and I must say, I'm concerned by what I've heard. Naresh straightened, his expression hardening. Admiral, I assure you that we did what was necessary to defend our fleet and our homeworld from the alien invaders. Saran's brow furrowed. I understand the urgency of the situation, but the use of the forbidden upgrade is a grave matter. You know the risks, the potential consequences. Naresh's jaw tightened. I'm well aware of the risks, Admiral. But I made the decision to use the upgrade because it was the only way to save my crew and our ships. I won't apologize for that. Saran's expression darkened. I'm not asking you to apologize, Captain. I'm asking you to consider the broader implications of your actions. The use of the upgrade could have far-reaching consequences that we may not be able to predict or control. Naresh's gaze narrowed. Then we'll have to be prepared to face those consequences, Admiral. Because if the alien invaders return, and we're not ready, the cost to our species could be devastating. The two officers stared at each other, their expressions reflecting the gravity of the situation. Very well, Captain, Saran said finally. Proceed with your preparations, but be advised, the Council will be watching your every move. The transmission cut off, leaving Naresh and his crew to grapple with the weight of their decision. The hewn fleet surged forward, its engines straining as it raced to fortify Earth's defenses. Naresh stood on the bridge of his flagship, his eyes fixed on the tactical display as his crew worked with a sense of urgency. Status report, Ensign, he commanded, his voice clipped. Kieran's fingers flew across her console, her brow furrowed in concentration. All ships are at maximum warp, sir. We're closing in on the outer defense perimeter in 20 minutes. Naresh nodded, his expression grim. Good. Have the ground-based defense platforms readied for immediate activation. I want every weapon we have pointed at the sky, ready to unleash hell on any approaching alien vessels. Aye, sir, Kieran replied, relaying the orders to the planetary defense forces. The hewn fleet streaked through the void, its presence a stark contrast to the serene backdrop of the stars. Naresh's jaw tightened as he contemplated the gravity of their situation. Ensign, what is the status of our own ships? He asked, his gaze never leaving the display. Repair and resupply efforts are proceeding at maximum capacity, sir, Kieran reported. We've managed to restore the main engines to full power, and the shield systems are back online. However, several critical systems are still undergoing repairs, and our weapons loadout is not yet at full strength. Naresh's eyes narrowed. How long until we're at combat-ready status? Kieran hesitated for a moment. At our current rate of progress, we estimate full combat readiness in approximately 48 hours, sir. Naresh's expression darkened. That's too long. We need to be ready now. He turned to the rest of the bridge crew, his voice commanding. Divert all available resources to the repair and refit efforts. I want those ships ready to fight in 24 hours, no excuses. The crew sprang into action, their faces grim but determined. Kiren's fingers flew across her console, relaying the new orders with a sense of urgency. Naresh's gaze drifted to the view screen, where the familiar silhouette of Earth hung in the distance. We've bought ourselves some time, but it won't be long before the alien invaders return. When they do, we need to be ready to meet them head-on. He clenched his fist, his eyes hardening with resolve. This time, we won't hold back. We'll unleash the full power of the forbidden upgrade, no matter the cost. The fate of our species depends on it. The human fleet raced towards Earth, its damaged ships pushing their engines to the limit. Naresh knew that the final confrontation was looming, and he was determined to be ready, no matter the price. The human fleet returned to Earth, its engines burning bright as it raced to fortify the planet's defenses. Naresh stood on the bridge of his flagship, his expression grim as he surveyed the preparations. "Status report, Ensign," he commanded, his voice clipped. Kiren's fingers flew across her console, her brow furrowed in concentration. "All ground-based defense platforms are online and ready, sir. The fleet's combat readiness is at 85% and climbing." Naresh nodded, his jaw tightening. "Good. Have the remaining ships take up defensive positions around the planet. I'd want every available weapon pointed at the sky, ready to unleash hell on any approaching alien vessels." "Aye, sir," Kiren replied, relaying the orders with a sense of urgency. The human fleet maneuvered into position, its guns trained on the vast expanse of space. Naresh's gaze was fixed on the tactical display, his mind racing as he anticipated the inevitable confrontation. Suddenly, a series of alerts flashed across the console, and Kiren's eyes widened. "Sir, we've detected a massive energy surge in the outer system. Multiple enemy ships are emerging from FTL, and they're heading straight for us." Naresh's expression hardened. "Shields to maximum power. All hands, prepare for battle." The alien vessels surged forward, their weapons blazing. The human fleet responded with a barrage of devastating fire, the air crackling with the intensity of the assault. Kiren's voice was tense as she reported the status. "Shields holding, but they're being pushed to the limit. The enemy ships are punching through our defenses." Naresh's jaw tightened. "Activate the forbidden upgrade. We can't hold them off much longer." Kiren stared at him, her eyes wide. "But sir, the risks." "Do it, Ensign," Naresh barked. "We have no choice. It's the only way to save our world." Kiren swallowed hard and turned back to her console, her fingers flying across the controls. The bridge lights dimmed as power surged through the ship's systems, building towards a devastating climax. Naresh braced himself as the upgrade engaged, the human vessel's engines flaring to life with a blinding intensity. The alien ships faltered, their weapons fire becoming erratic as they struggled to keep up with the human onslaught. "We're punching through their lines," Kiren exclaimed, her voice tinged with awe. "Their ships are breaking apart under the onslaught." Naresh's expression was grim as he watched the alien vessels disintegrate. "Keep up the pressure, Ensign. We can't let a single one of them escape." The human fleet unleashed a relentless barrage, its upgraded weapons tearing through the alien invaders with devastating precision. One by one, the enemy ships were reduced to debris, their dreams of conquest shattered by the raw power of humanity's defiance. As the last of the alien vessels disappeared into the void, Naresh let out a long, shuddering breath. The price they had paid for this victory was steep, but the alternative had been unthinkable. He turned to Kiren, his eyes reflecting the weight of his decision. "Secure the fleet and begin damage assessment. We've won this battle, but I fear the war is far from over." The human fleet hung in the void, its battered but victorious ships a testament to the unwavering spirit of humanity. Naresh knew that the consequences of their actions would reverberate through the galaxy, and that the true test was yet to come. But for now, they had bought themselves time, and they would use it to prepare for the next confrontation, whatever it might bring.